there. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's my singular honor to introduce our two speakers for the night. Like they say, ladies first, but men before. So, Coach Ruth, you'll forgive me for tonight. I would like to have Mr. Solomon go first, and then we'll have Coach Ruth come second. Just briefly introduce yourself, tell us what you do. So, you guys are not nice. No one has seen my face and no one has commented. I have just realized. Oh my God. I'm so sorry, but I'll do that after Mr. Solomon and Coach introduce themselves, and then you'll see me. Thank you. Kindly go ahead, Mr. Solomon. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Please unmute. I believe you're speaking on mute. Thank you very much.
Can I be heard? Please confirm that you can hear me. Okay. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen on call. It's an honor for me to be here this evening with everyone. I see quite a number have joined. I really appreciate you. My name, as has already been mentioned, is Solomon Jackson Kobwemi. I pride myself as a person who is very much interested in touching lives in different ways through my trainings, through my conversations, through the kind of work I do. My target in life is to touch as many lives as possible. And I really love it when I see people change because maybe of a thing or two that we have discussed. And so my purpose in life is to touch as many lives as possible, to ensure that people are becoming better because we have interacted or we have had a conversation here and there. So that's what motivates me every day. Whatever I do is targeted towards that. Of course, I love to make money here and there, but priority is change a life in whatever I do. So briefly, that's me. It's an honor to be here. I'm a trainer, facilitator, events host, but also I'm a trained economist. Right now, pursuing a PhD in health economics at Makerere University. 8 to 5, I work with the National Social Security Fund as an area manager. I head the branch of Kampala South. I sit at Entebbe. And yeah, a pleasure to be with you. And I'm so excited to be having this conversation alongside a very known and wonderful person, Ruth. It's such a pleasure. Thank you so much, Faith. That's it for now. Let's proceed. Thank you. I will beg to tune off my camera for now, since everybody has seen me. You're not talking to an AI. It is a real person. So allow me switch off my camera as I allow Ruth to come on. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Solomon. It's such a pleasure to be back here. I'm smiling, Faith. I can feel your energy. Well done, moderator. I keep saying you are one of the best gifts to Future Den. And thank you so much, Mr. Awesome, wherever you are. We thank you for starting this platform and community that is bringing all of us together as experts, as people who want to grow together and learn from each other. And thank you so much, Future Den community. I know some of us, we have met in several other communities. So it's always a pleasure to be back and to be able to share in this big pie. I keep saying there is enough for everyone. There's always a lot to learn. And I do love sitting also at the feet of both the old and the young, because there's a lot to learn from each other. And thank you so much, Solomon. I must say it's a pleasure to be on the same panel with you. I can't wait also to learn from you and for us to be able to land this topic of today. So yes, be it renewed by the transformation of your mind. That's our anchor verse at Badili Consults. Badili is a HR consulting and coaching company that is supporting SMEs, startups, and businesses in East Africa, not just in Uganda. And we were pushed we just found ourselves at a place where we were just called to the startup world. We'd worked in corporate space and felt, yes, the structures there are good enough, but they may not be changing our people on ground because there's only a small percentage of people who work in the corporate space. As you can see, a big chunk of our economy is supported by entrepreneurs. The numbers are quite staggering. We can't ignore them anymore. And so we felt called into that space to trailblaze with, of course, the experience and knowledge we gained in the corporate space to be able to make businesses in East Africa shine, and above all, make sure that the talent, the African talent, is shining bright at a time where it's all about Africa right now. So if you're here today and you are African, you're the luckiest person alive. And my mission is to raise a positively cultured generation of fearless leaders who are also going to impact the circles of influence. And my name is Coach Ruthie, as many people call me, or Ruth Ndwiga, who's also the founder and team leader at Badili Consults, where I lead a team of consultants who are doing the amazing work of transforming minds because we believe everyone has potential. I do also serve as a talent manager at Rutico, which is a venture studio and a Shona group. And it's such a privilege to be able also to influence in the agribusiness space, which is the backbone of our economy. Alongside that, I'm a proud mommy of two amazing children who I love, and I keep saying every day they shape me, they ground me, they test me, yes, but they groom me and remind me that God loves me. So thank you so much. I can't wait to dive into the topic of today. Over to you, Faith. Faith, you're on mute. You're just smiling.
Amazing. Thank you very much. I have seen that people decided to put their videos on so that you see we're not speaking to AIs. We are real humans. So welcome. This is not a chatbot society. We are real humans. We are not verifying. Anyway, on to serious business. So welcome on board. Thank you very much. I hope all of you have had that amazing introduction, and people have beautiful portfolios out here. Isn't it amazing? Thank you for joining us. So I'll cut direct to the chase. Maybe I'll start with Mr. Solomon. And I'd love to hear from your perspective, what is the difference between a career and a profession? And where do you think you lie? Do you really have a profession, or you are pursuing a career right now that will build up to a profession?
Wow, interesting. I thought this question would be answered by the HR professional first, but it's
Faith has a
it's
way with, she just gets you. So don't worry, she'll also get me at one point.
oh, Faith,
Yeah.
this is very interesting. Anyway, Faith, thank you so much for the question. I'm very delighted to be here to have such a conversation. When I received the request from Stephen, Mr. Awesome, so I've come to learn. I was amazed at the topic which we're going to discuss because this has been one of my struggles. And I even made a post on LinkedIn. I said, I have struggled with this. And what a way to put me on spot to come and talk about it. So, what I'm going to share is not just theory that I've read in books here and there, it's real life that the struggle I've gone through and I'm that's something I'm building. And so I would like to say that I'm not a real fully fledged expert like the HR expert Ruth is, but but I'm an expert in traversing in finding my way on this journey. So yes, a career to me I would say is a broad is something broad. It's something that you're working at. It's your whole life journey. And for me, I would like to loop it into what your life purpose is. So a career is more than a job. A career is more than what I have studied. A career is a lifelong journey. I would liken it to a legacy. What do I want to be remembered for, even when my time is done? Whereas a profession is more specific. it's a short-term thing. I could look at it in terms of what have I studied? What am I qualified to do? What skills do I possess that make me an expert in a given area? So that's a profession. For example, in my introduction, I told us that I am an economist. So that's my profession. I have trained and I'm continuing to train. I've told you I'm a student right now because I felt like the economics I have, I might want to be more specific. In my undergraduate, I did economics. It was broad. I did many things: microeconomics, macro, mathematical, blah, 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 blah. I did all those things. I went on to do a master's in economics where I specialized in development economics. And so I was doing that bit, which is a little more specific. But then I went ahead and said, no, 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 I want to be an expert in a certain area. And so I have enrolled to do health economics and not just a full board in extensive health economics. I'm specializing in health systems financing. So that is my profession. I am being specific, I'm narrowing it down. But when it comes to a profession, I'm looking at a broader perspective. So for me, as I already explained, is I want to, I'm an economist, but I want to be remembered for touching lives. That is what I am building. That's what I am going towards, whatever I do. So a profession is a subset of a career. I will use my profession to advance my career goals. What do I want in life? And so many of us struggle because we do not know what we want in life. We would not know career-wise, where am I headed? We tend to focus more on professional development. And so when somebody tells you, I feel stagnating in my career, but are you really stagnating in your career or you're stagnating in your profession? And so we need to be very clear on that. We need to find out, what do I want to become? What is my purpose in this journey of life? What am I building for the long term? You can actually, career-wise, you can have many professions, different professions, because professions can change depending on the time and season on and where you want to go. You can keep on adding on different things. Maybe along the path we'll be exchanging ideas or experiences on how things have changed here and there, how we have continued to grow here and there because of the career we are pursuing. I'm very confident that Ruth, where she sits as an HR professional, she has many other things that have built up whatever she is doing right now in consulting. And so all of us need to think about that. Think about the career, which is a bigger thing, which makes you you. Profession plays a bit of it, but the bigger bit is, what do you want in this life? What is your purpose in life? And so that builds your career. I hope I've not used a lot of English, a lot of confusing statements, but basically that's what I would say. Thank you very much. And then you asked whether I am doing one or both. I would say that I am doing both because, as I've said, my profession is a subset of my career. So I am using my profession to build my career. I every day. By the way, what I do right now as at NSSF may not necessarily be what I studied in class. Okay? So that shows you that your profession may not necessarily be what is taking much of your time right now. So you have to ask yourself, why do I have to spend all this time where I am? What am I building? Why does it matter? Instead of just looking for the paycheck. Thank you.
Instead of just looking for a paycheck is quite a big word, Instead of just looking for a paycheck is quite a big word. But thank you very much. I think that's very elaborate. So what you're ideally saying right now is that as an academic trainer, I'm just in a profession and I have something bigger that I ought to build rather than just considering academics as the thing. All right, amazing. So beautifully said. Now, to you, Coach Ruth, as a HR professional, I'm certain you have handled so many people in your hands, helping them understand whether it's career or profession they are working around. And maybe you might get more clients today, but just to build up with something that Mr. Solomon has said, when we are talking about now career reinvention, that is a bigger word because this is not just a profession that we are talking about. We are talking about the long term journey, the end of things. So, what do you understand by career reinvention right now, and how have you seen it play out as a HR professional through your journey? And
Mhm.
also, in that, how do professions build up to the journey of career reinvention? Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Faith, for that. Just allow me also to just spend a minute or less, or just 1.5, to make the distinction just with the first end of it. So I know some of our challenges, our biggest challenge actually is just where we come from here in Africa. There's what we've been raised for a long time, and it's what also our parents were raised or were brought up. They went to school actually to chase a profession, to become a doctor, an engineer, get that title, and you're set for life. But we found that where we are at today, um, it doesn't seem to matter so much where you're caught in between. And I love the explanation that Solomon has given, so I won't repeat what he has said. But in a nutshell, career is just really your path. It's your lifelong learning. It's like a moving story. The parts of you that you've become over time, your choices, sometimes it's the detours Solomon is talking about. That's all part of your career, and it's something to be proud of. The things you got good along the way, the things also you learned or unlearned, and sometimes some of these things have come by accident. And a profession, of course, then is that label. Whatever it is you print on that business card becomes maybe either it's your training, whatever your degree or your master's, you're a lawyer, accountant. It seems to be fixed. It tells the world what you've been trained for. And it's quite interesting. You can even hold one profession and have very different career paths inside it. Excuse me, you can change your profession also totally and still carry your career. So I'm saying yes. And sometimes you find there's that confusion. People are interchanging them. But when you look at a career, it's wholesome. It also has your reputation. It has your networks. It has a way of how you solve things. And that's where someone will be saying they've had a successful career because people know them for how they solve problems. Your career stays with you. And so when you talk about a career reinvention, you're not per se abandoning who you are. Sometimes there's that interesting chase to change everything. We've been taught to cross the road quickly. And sometimes when the change seems slow, then it stops feeling like it's a change. So it's being conscious that I, as Ruth, I'm showing up as a person who has accumulated some set of skills. I probably am the same person with the same instincts. Maybe they are stronger. Like when I became a mom, there's some of my instincts that became stronger because now I could live that. It no longer stopped becoming a skill, it's a way of life. Like when you talk about empathy, I know that's one thing that's easy to talk until you find yourself in that place where you yourself are vulnerable. I can show up with the same hard-won wisdom towards being able to express a new value. For instance, it's an accountant thinking that the world is changing. If I can go and accumulate a few AI skills, maybe even jump out of the corporate space and go to a startup world, I could actually become a fintech consultant. I've seen salespeople changing their entire careers, but they're still using the sales skills to become even financial advisors. Like you, Faith, also, I know your background as a successful teacher and moving towards now the academic or the corporate space to be a trainer. We've seen radio presenters who now run their own shows. I'm sure we've seen a couple of them on YouTube, or some of them have become brand strategists. They are the same person. It's the same career thread, but it becomes a new profession. So when we talk about reinvention, it's not meant to ignite panic, though many times we are caught at a place of feeling stuck. It can be a skill each one of us has that needs to, to just be retweaked a little for us to be able to see where am I most needed right now. And so the bigger picture is, who do I need to become? What is changing within you? What's causing that change? Because sometimes we get confused and think that we need to wake up and suddenly become a whole new person. Personally, I'm working towards building a portfolio because the spaces I show up, and people only know me as Coach Ruthie. I do executive and transformation coaching. The spaces I show up to, people know me as a business builder. You find me there. We are those badass business builders. We are dissecting finance. We are dissecting management. We're dissecting so many parts of the business. Next time you come find me in a chilled room as a facilitator. I'm not doing what would be the everyday work of a HR. And the spaces you go and find me, then I'm the HR expert, dissecting those policies or building them, designing systems, and, being a culture shaper or bringing together a high-performing teams. So all those have become a collection of a portfolio, and there can be different things. Like right now in this room, I could be a panelist, I could be a trainer, I could be a coach. So this is whatever it is I have embraced. I don't think I will stop doing this, because even though I were to wake up today and decide, because I love cooking, let's say something hit me so hard and it was like, I want now to go back and full time to cooking. It won't take away the skills I can transfer. So many times it's just us coming to a realization that there's more we want in life. Maybe it's values that have changed, or you have embraced a new way of life, like motherhood, or you have lost a job, or you're just feeling stuck, you're frustrated. It could just be you're becoming a new you, and there's people also who do it for the thrill of it. I know someone who says every 10 years they reinvent themselves, and that they have put as part of their value system, that every 10 years they want to become something. And that has been represented also in the kind of spaces they are happening. And I'm sure we have also some good examples here in Kampala, where you find someone started out as an educationist, then they went to the hospital space, and now maybe they're doing philanthropy or something which is related. They have remained the same person, but reinvented themselves over time to be more useful, not just to themselves, but also to the community. So back to you, Faith. Thank you.
Amazing. I am back in a different style. Welcome to Kenya, where it's June and July. We are getting cold over here, so please don't mind the hoodie. It's really chilly. Aha. So you have mentioned something, and Mr. Solomon is saying we should start a cook show. Please don't. I'll be the tester. I'll be testing, perfect moderation and just testing. But we have seen our next Miss Ombachi in the making coming up. All right, you have talked about the process of slow reinventing. I feel like you have gone ahead of me, but let's talk about it for a minute, because sometimes you wake up and, okay, I don't want to teach anymore. I think I can use my skills to interview people, to moderate, to host a podcast. And of course, there is process to it. You know, I can use my skills to train people, but there is process to it. There is process to it. However, some of these ideas that we have, they are not necessarily feasible ideas. It's not something you just wake up and do the next minute, You need to wait on it. So, how do I tell the difference between something that I need to actually pursue and something that I can do as a side job? I'd not want to call it a hustle, a side job or a side gig while I am still working at this profession. How do I tell the difference? Because there has been a major allegation, and this you'll agree with as a HR consultant, that Gen Z is the first generation where people are quitting jobs without knowing their next step. I am a happy Gen Z, but I'm not quitting my job yet. I'm just asking, how do I tell the difference between what I should pursue right now and what I should wait on?
Is that for
The
me,
question,
Faith?
yes, please. Yes, please. Sorry.
Okay. I do know that to frame it also as you being caught between what looks like a difficult season and a place that you need to leave. it's quite personal, because there's those spaces that leave you exhausted. I keep saying you as the individual are the greatest signal of the environment you're in. Just like a plant is a signal of the soil it grows from, you can tell the quality of the soil by the strength of the plant, whether it's a tree or a flower or whatever else that's sprouting from the ground. So when you look at yourself and you're constantly exhausted, you're doubtful, you're constantly dreaming of another place rather than where you're at, you're literally tempted to run. Yeah. It can really be a hard choice, and it creates, do I push through? Do I leave? And you're constantly trying to find an objective answer. I know I have been there many times where you've gotten even that which is a dream job, but when you look at the environment around you, it's not healthy. It's not one that empowers. It continuously takes and takes and doesn't give back. Maybe let me put a context to it. Like a difficult decision or a season, you can push through it. You can actually see there's growth through hardship. And this is where also as Gen Zs, we need to distinguish. Are you running away because it feels difficult? Because then we shall groom talent or people who are not going to be resilient. At any early sign of being tired or exhausted, then you think it's time for me to move on to the next thing. But if you're constantly frustrated, and when you look at yourself as a version of the other thing on the other side of that soil you're in, this pain does not seem to even have that direction. But then there's that place where you're at and you can feel the pain is teaching you something. Just like a seed first has to get in the ground, it dies, literally dies. Like if it does not go through the process of that death, then nothing is going to sprout out of it. You've been having those constant complaints over and over. It's starting to eat at your mental wellness. You can't even imagine a better version of yourself on the other side. Sometimes literally thinking that you will not even physically make it. All what you keep daydreaming is escaping that space you're in. And there's a distinguishing between, is it the workplace that's toxic? Is it usually it's the colleagues or the systems, the bureaucracy, or is it you who's not willing to subject or submit yourself to the refining process? So the people keep telling you things like, oh, Ruth or Faith, you've changed, you seem smaller, you seem quieter, your demeanor is changing, you're less like yourself. So anything that's diminishing the person you know you are, then that's always a signal. It's a genuine signal for you to reinvent yourself, where you can feel there's more fulfillment, you're adding more meaning to your life and those around you. And some of the questions I've always asked myself is, am I growing here or am I just enduring? And this goes not just even for jobs, it's any space you're in, whether it's a community where you're even serving the community or it's church. I keep asking myself, am I growing here or am I just enduring? And two, I look into the future. If I were to continue with this same back and forth, am I okay with that? Would I have grown or would have died by then? And three, is this hard because it's meaningful? Because generally there's things that are hard. Algebra was hard. Anyone who did it, it didn't get easier as you moved on. Or is it hard because it's wrong for me? I'm studying algebra and not finding where I'm going to use it in my next 2 years. And if the answers are leaving you uneasy, that unease you keep feeling within yourself, again, that's a signal. It's data. Just receive it in good faith. And every time you feel a certain thing, open a new page in your notebook or diary. Just keep jotting down what those motions look like. If you're good at drawing, draw whatever it is you're feeling. So don't wait for a crisis to give you permission to listen to it. So for the Gen Zs and anyone else, because I'm sure the room is equally represented by people around it, you want to look again at your goals. Where are you headed? There's going to be a time where some decisions are easier to make, like when we are younger. It was easy for me to move from my home country because I was younger, I didn't have a family then. But right now, asking me, Ruth, think about moving to what someone else would call greener pastures. For me, greener pastures is where my family is. So it doesn't matter that I'm going through a process of change, but I'll try always to align that core. So ask yourself also, what are your values? What are your non-negotiables that if they are constantly being met, you can build your life around there? And I keep calling myself to a board meeting, though you have a board meeting, mine is like a vision lab. When I go in there, I just write, I keep writing whatever that coming to mind. And when it aligns somewhere, maybe with some wild ideas, I can go and start circling back and saying, if this wild idea I had, because man, some of the things I'm doing today, I dreamt about them 2-3 years ago. It was a wild idea. I have a notebook, I just write crazy ideas. They must be in the hundreds. And every time I go read it, I can see how it connects to the person I have become today. So give yourself permission, guys, to dream. And I keep saying there's nothing wrong even to go on an internship, which is unpaid, if you're not really dying of hunger. If you're young, you have more chances. Go out, leave your home country, go to a new town. Not all jobs or professional spaces are found in Kampala. Explore, but depending also on the stage of life you're at and also other limiting factors, I believe the only the only thing that can hold you back is yourself, even when you have transitioned to other parts of your life. So just list down what's that future like. Get back to your vision lab and try to connect it back to your values. If whatever that idea is what you have always dreamt of, then go for it. But again, there's the reality of survival. I know someone else thinking, Ruth, land this plane. Yes, there's always that place of survival in Africa or in Uganda. We always have to secure the money back. That doesn't mean that every job I've had has been an awesome job, but I thank God I've been blessed like that. I don't remember being in a place that was quite terrible. Even what would have been terrible in hindsight, I look back at the big lesson that I gained. Maybe it was teaching me resilience, maybe it was teaching me more humility or more empathy, or to hustle how in town. I've actually ever worked for a client who was downtown, and I can't tell you how my life changed from that corporate mindset in knowing that if I'm going to set up businesses up for success in this town, I need to be where the hustle is. So back to you, Faith. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you very much. What I am hearing is, first of all, have a dream, have a vision, because you cannot reinvent
Faith, can
yourself
I?
if you don't know. Yes, please.
No, I wanted to just add on something small to what Ruth has explained.
Oh,
Um, that we need to be very careful, especially there is something that she mentioned about running away from a challenge and actually deciding to reinvent yourself. The challenge that I have found lately amongst the young generation is whenever there is a challenge, when they feel challenged mentally or physically at a workplace, the first thing they front is I am I am mindful of my mental health. My mental health is at stake. My mental health. It's not a bad thing, but we need sometimes to stick it in there and learn some lessons because there will be challenges every now and then. Life is challenging. So if you keep running, you'll keep and say, what do I want? And Ruth has mentioned something very important. What are my values? Where am I headed? I will add on something else. What is my life purpose? And how does this fit into my life purpose? And so it takes us back to where we started. What are my career goals? Then, when you have that clear stated within you or on your career board or in your vision, whatever it is, then there are certain, it's okay, this one is teaching me certain spaces I've been in and I have been, why am I even here? But then I sit back and say, because tough times refine us. So do not jump out of the furnace because it's very hot, and yet that is the place where you're supposed to be refined from. You jump out when you are being it's like a pot jumping off from
Sorry.
the potter's hands and says, no, 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 I am not going to be modeled like this. And yet the potter is saying, this is the vision I have for you, and I have to take you through to mold you into that person now and then. I want the caution to that seek clarity.
Sorry about that. We were having a bit of a network lag on his end. I am certain he will rejoin in a short while. I love the statement he has made though before dropping off, that you don't jump out of the fire because it's hot. You jump out of the fire because you have been refined. So literally all we are talking about here is that you have to have a sense of yourself. Firstly, as an individual, know what you want. You're allowed to dream, you're allowed to imagine, but also while at it, have non-negotiable values. What are those things that you cannot drop along the way? What are those things that define you from the core? And then the other thing that you need to look at really intensely is, am I growing in this particular place or am I enduring? I want to wonder what enduring looks like, but I believe every one of us has that gut feeling that tells you, whatever I am doing here, I am just doing it for the books and for the PR. And well, the truth is, I am dying on the inside. And the truth is that God has given us, all of us, whether believing or not, we always have that clock inside of us that keeps telling us, this is the way that you should go. You are not in the right place. Unless you silence it, really, it should be working for you. So once again, thank you very much for joining us. It's an amazing conversation. Would like to hear from you. The chat box is open for your questions. The chat box is open for your comments. The chat box is open for your reaction. Write out what you have heard, what has stood out for you, what you are really liking at this particular session. And if you have not shared the link yet, it's available. You can also share the YouTube link where people will be able to join and listen in live without having to go through this Zoom amazing technology challenges. I wonder what they wanted to invent with Ebola. Do you guys ever sit down and think of it? They gave us Zoom with COVID. So what would have Ebola brought us? Anyway, Mr. Solomon, I hope you're back and you can hear me. Thank you very much. Please confirm that you can hear us. We want to know if you're back so that we can carry on with the conversation.
I can hear you, Faith, loud and clear. I can hear you.
Thank you very much. I want to pique your fancy on something here. You have mentioned the whole conversation on purpose, knowing yourself, knowing what you want, and not chasing the paycheck. Just to get you up to speed. As of last month, they just mentioned that the inflation rate in Kenya is up by 7%. So, someone listening to you right now and you're telling them, please don't chase the money back, look at purpose. Look at, you know, they are just trying to look at you and they're like, guy, are you sure that you're still in the same Africa that we are in? But also, someone might be wondering, do you want to tell us that you got it right from the beginning, that you just had a sense of purpose and you knew exactly what you wanted? And that is how you chose your career path and your profession. You know, you are speaking with so much decorum. So I want to know from your perspective, Please stop laughing. What has your journey on this discovering beat being like? And while at it, did you have any mentor or any individual who just decided to hold your hand and you built a relationship with them and they helped you into that place from where you're speaking from right now? Please go ahead.
Faith, you're so ruthless. I can't stop laughing. Um, I think I'll first send my apologies to whoever is listening that feels like I have got it all figured out. I haven't. I am figuring it out as I move forward. So it is not that I have it all figured out, ladies and gentlemen. As I've told you, I am speaking from the journey I am going through. Even as I speak, I'm still reinventing myself, to be exact. Um, Number one, I would say maybe just to give us a little bit of background. I went to the university to study education with economics. I did not want to be a teacher. Yes, Faith, don't worry. I know you're a wonderful teacher. I did not set out to be a teacher, but because of my financial background, I could not afford to pay for myself to do the kind of course I wanted to do at university. So I ended up being a teacher. And it was such an opportunity. My first time to enter the city was when I was going to the university from up country. So it was such a fulfilling thing. Okay, now that is done. When I finished my degree, I got a job with an NGO that I jumped onto very easily, very fast. And I worked with the Compassion International Project in a remote place in eastern Uganda. Was it nice? Yes and no. I loved dealing with the children, but man, it was challenging. Everybody met me and asked me, why would you come and work in such a place? So I decided to move. After 2 years serving there, I moved. I worked with the Scripture Union of Uganda for 4 years, where we were impacting children and youth and parents in different activities, but basically emphasizing Bible reading and you know what Scripture Union does, or you have an idea. So I did that for 4 years. However, I noticed that I loved serving the Lord, but my purpose was in something else. I wanted something more challenging. I wanted something more which I love to be challenged all the time. I want to spend a sleepless night because something has failed to work, and I have to really provide a solution. So when it started being routine, monotonous, nothing new expected, nothing challenging, I looked for another challenge. But at that time, I had just got married and I wanted some more money. Okay. So Scripture Union being, church-based, the finances are not as much. I had to look for something which would pay me a little more money. I had the ambition of going back to school. I realized that the salary could not pay for that. So I had to step out. And so that's how I ended up at NSSF at the lowest rank. Now, there I worked very hard, but 3 months into the role, I felt like the role was crippling my mind. I wasn't thinking hard in. Yes, it was. I was doing data management. I was entering data, and that. I realized it wasn't for me. I went and spoke to my supervisor. I told them, you know what? Is there something else I can do? Because this is not my kind of thing. And my supervisor told me, unfortunately, that's what there is for now. So you're going to do with that. I sat down and said, okay, I need the paycheck. I need to pay my school fees. My first year in that job, I welcomed a baby. So I needed money. I needed to stay. I stayed. Even when I struggled to get, move into another role, but I stayed in that role. I did it for 2 years. And thereafter, I got an opportunity to get elevated to another role. I became a relationship manager where it was exciting because I was meeting new people. I was excited. But I did it for, I think, for 2 years. And I wanted to move to another one because the challenge was I know what to do, so it's no longer challenging, blah, blah, blah. So I pushed to become to the next level. And I think it came 6 years later, I was promoted. Okay, I got into another role, which I've done for the last 10 years now. Have I got it figured out? No. Now, what happened along the path? It became more monotonous. I started asking myself, is this what I want to do for the entire of my life? I am in my 40s now. I ask myself, what do I want to retire into? What do I want to be later? How can I transform the skills I've got in NSSF for all these years into something bigger than the profession, than this job, this seat where I sit, this thing called NSSF. Right now, I'm respected because when I introduce myself, I say I'm area manager, Kampala South NSSF. Everybody would clap. But the day I step out, what will I be? What have I built beyond NSSF? So I had to think like that. And as I was thinking through that, I met a gentleman. I'm proud to, talk about him. I met a gentleman called Samuel Ibanda. You could look him up on LinkedIn. Ruth, I know you have had a conversation. I mean, you have taken us through some session on Transformational Professionals Club. Samuel Ibanda challenged me. I met him and he challenged me. He asked me, what are you doing? I realized I had many things that I am so passionate about. I do trainings. I realized I do great events moderation. And I had not really taken it seriously. I realized I do great public speaking. I had done several courses in public speaking, but I was not really using them. And so he challenged me to sit back and do an evaluation of what I have, what I'm capable of doing, and what I could do. He challenged me and asked me, what is your life purpose? And so that's why I fronted, because when I asked myself that, it gave me clarity. I love the money. I can't lie to you. I am an economist. We love money. But but money should not blind me completely to what I want to achieve in life, because there is more than money can buy. And so that's why I'm passionate about that. Stephen will call me and say, there is this, we have this thing we have to do. And because I know I am going to influence a life or two out there, I'll come and do it pro bono. I'm not saying that I don't like to be paid. I love to be paid for my work. And I've always told people, do something, but make sure that somebody pays for it, because you're investing your resources, you're investing your money, somebody has to pay for it, okay? So I encourage people to do things which bring them some money. However, money in itself is not an end. Money should not be an end in itself. It should be something which propels us to some other level, to some higher goal in life. That is what I live for. And for me, if I would like to hear people, like recently, somebody went through my LinkedIn profile and wrote to me, and I was so challenged. I was so happy. I felt fulfilled. What did they say? They said from what they read, they realized that I am more interested in helping people change. I am authentically interested in people. And for me, I felt like I had been heard. I had been appreciated, because that's what I live for. That's what I would want to be remembered for, that I influenced lives, that I changed lives. Do I have everything figured out? No. As I speak, I'm still building. Okay, very soon I'll be bringing out something that I'm building, and it has come through a story. It has come through a journey. It is not happening today or tomorrow. But also, as I say, I encourage people to do thorough introspection into their lives, because we have a lot of skills and potential that is not tapped into, and we are so stuck onto the profession that we are holding right now, and we think that is the alpha and omega of our lives. There is a lot within us that is not exploited, that if you sat down and even asked people around you, you will be amazed what you can do. You will be amazed what opportunities lie ahead. I facilitate a training, I facilitate a program under UN Trade. And some of you who read my LinkedIn, we did one last week. And one of the behaviors that we always emphasize is about opportunity seeking and initiative. And we tell people that where people see problems, entrepreneurs see opportunities. So there are opportunities all around us. We just need to open our eyes. We just need to open our eyes, remembering your values, remembering what you want to be in life. Knowing what you want to be in life, what you want to turn out for you in the long term is not a one-day experience. To be honest, it can keep on changing or evolving as you grow older. Okay? I did an MBA in 2017. After doing that MBA, I got a scholarship to do a Doctor of Philosophy in Business Administration. I refused it because by the time they reached out to me, I had started understanding what I want to be in life, what I wanted to build, even professionally. I declined it. But if it had become earlier, maybe I would have jumped onto it because I'm going to become a doctor, blah, blah, blah. That would be my motivation. But my motivations along that journey have changed. It's not just the paper, there is more to that. So your life journey, your life purpose gets on being refined as you think deeper, as you interact with people who are challenging you and are, okay, the mentorship bit, because for me, my mentorship has happened not because people have come out themselves to say, we want to mentor you. I have intentionally looked for them and built relationships and built networks. This topic was talking about networks, maybe something that I'm jumping ahead of. But when you build the right networks, then you get to be challenged the right way. Then you get to think deeper about where you're headed, what you want to build. And then you will know, even when the other issue comes up, when you feel like life is tough, when you feel like the workplace is becoming complicated, with the right people around you, you easily get clarity and say, you know what, I think it's my time to move. I think this is just a time for me to learn. You have people you interact with, this is what I'm going through. They will advise you. Not that they are 100% correct, but they become like your resounding board, and then you can get clarity. So, has it been easy? No. Have I gotten it there? Am I there yet? I'm still building, but I am not where I was 10 years ago. Over to you, Faith.
Amazing. First of all, ruthless is not something I'd consider myself as, but that's very kind of you. Thank you.
No,
I
no,
have one
I meant the way the
question.
question came through. It challenged me so much because I am not there yet.
Amazing.
She
No
can't
worries
be
about that.
without me. She can't be without me.
So, I have one question just to wrap up what you have said before we turn it over to Coach Ruth, Mr. Solomon. So now that you have idea or nuances of where you're supposed to be or what you want to be, there's a time you stayed in a career because you needed more money. Have you found more money attracted to you now that you know yourself than that time? Or are you still seeking to find opportunities that bring you money? In 1 minute, please, Mr. Solomon.
Um, as an entrepreneur, I will always seek opportunities to make more money. That one I will
Nah.
not run out from.
Wow.
Yes, I have earned some money. Yes, I've earned some money along my path. As I've told you, I've been
Mm,
growing. I
yes.
mean, in my professional journey, I've been growing. Even
Mhm.
whatever I'm building, as I said, I am not building a social enterprise. Okay? I'm building something which will bring me some money. So from that background, I'll still build to earn some more money. However, the money is not going to cloud my desire to influence lives at the end of it all.
Mm.
I submit.
Yeah, that's very clear. Thank you very much. I think I should come to your training on opportunity seeking. I have discovered that I also love challenges. I mean, I get bored very quickly. So, fortunately or unfortunately, my way of coping with boredom is that I always study something new, and I have discovered almost every year I have studied a course, and I'm currently studying another one. And I have graduated this year with two certificates already. So it's just interesting to look at it. So there's a lot in there, and there's a lot to still uncover. And if all of you have noticed, you have very amazing speakers today, and they enjoy speaking. So I'm wondering, why are you not engaged? Why are you not engaging? We should have you both on separate days. That would be a very good thing to talk to walk through. I like that now we are into the closing bit of our conversation, the whole idea of mentorship and professional networking. Mr. Solomon has talked about how he was intentional moving out looking for mentors and building those professional networks. And now back to you, Miss Ruth. I understand that you have a very rich network, even to the extent of working with the Avoda group. I mean, it's a beautiful group and it's solid in terms of its values and the content it generates to a generation, especially also in mentoring believers, because there has been a notion where religion is supposed to solve problems, especially in Africa. And I think that's where the Westerners are really getting ahead of us in terms of being more solution oriented rather than being religious oriented. So, what does building an authentic network look like for you? How would you bring it out to someone who has never been really out there? And I'm not talking about just the conventional networking where I meet you, I give you my business card, and we never talk to each other again. Or where you go into a room and you are meeting 30 people and you're so frantic about it, you want to talk to everyone because you're like, I need to network, you know? And I believe most of those things, because I have done them, by the way, I am also not very innocent. I
Yeah.
have done some of these things. And the honest truth is that they never yield fruit. Never.
Mm-hmm.
So, how does authentic network and relationship building look like? I also understand that you're a mentor to different people. How
Mm-hmm.
do you build relationship with your mentees, or how would you encourage someone who has never had this opportunity just to show them the way of building authentic relationships, either professionally with the people they interact with or with someone they would like to be mentored by? Thank you.
All right. Thanks for that, Faith. And you've just been describing what's really transactional networking. And just like the name suggests, if you're that person in even a family group or within your friend circles who's constantly throwing in your pitching messages, people can see them from a mile away. There's nothing wrong with selling, but you can't keep posting messages about your products, your shoes, from when we wake up to lunchtime to evening, and people can smell whatever it is you want from them. And I believe that's what the opposite of it would be. Transactional is asking, what can I get? So if it's sometimes people are even chasing clout. You go to this big networking event and you just want to talk to the guest speakers, no one else. For you, you're just seeing the guys who are probably seated at the panel, the guys seated at the front tables. And for you, it's just like, what can I get from those people? And many times it's a job someone wants, many times it's a connection, or they want someone to support them in procurement. And like I'm saying, that people can smell that. But when you embrace what I call authentic networking, you're asking, what can I learn? Even deeper is, what can I give first? You're now flipping the order. People don't see it coming. You're very curious, and it's not just value you're needing. You're not just coming with a need. You're genuinely interested because Even the times I take a break from LinkedIn, like now I've been on a whole month, I'm about to come back this week. I can tell people who are genuinely following me because they've been asking, Ruth, where have you been? And I'm saying where I have been. The people who are concerned in those spaces really know why I needed this quiet space to just be able sometimes to plug into work. And I can tell just even with the comments, I'm just using LinkedIn because it's one of the largest professional network. And I'm glad here in Uganda, especially Kampala, people have really embraced it. And thanks also to those networks that we have been a part of. People are seeing the usefulness of whatever it is you're giving off. For instance, if you're a mentor. But for you now as a mentee or someone who's interested, let me use myself on my journey. You're giving even before you can ask for anything. You're looking at what's beyond the ask. Are we building a relationship? I can tell who the minute I post, even Steve, thank you. He's always liking my comments and saying something. Sometimes he's resharing. I'm just giving an example in the room because I think I had seen him there. So if a simple test would be, if this person never helps you professionally, are you still going to be glad to know them? It's an honest check within ourselves. Then if it's beyond what you would ever imagine getting from this person, then that for you also is authentic. And I keep telling people, not every mentor is for you, because some of these mentors are also really busy and they're sort of maxed out and spreading themselves a bit too thin sometimes. And I've also seen mentees or people who are looking up even to experts that I know. I've had, especially sometimes younger ladies coming to us, but why does this person not answer my DM? Yet I met them. I even gave them a free product. Why don't they seem to? Well, they have blue ticked me. If the relationship has no purpose beyond what you might do for them, then again, it goes back to being transactional. And it can be seen that, hey, maybe you gave me a gift of a book, but there's something in return you wanted. But this is also not how we build even community here in Uganda. Think of how even we form relationships, whether it's away from even the professional space in church, maybe you've met this committee that's raising funds, or even a chama that's raising money. No one is asking, what can you do for me? The trust is building slowly. So I feel it's a game of trust. Trust here is the currency. How are you showing up also? Are you showing up consistently? Are you showing up authentically? And apply the same instinct as you would. Even for the men or the ladies, when you meet someone you're interested with, you can't just come immediately. Yes, I know there's people who have met someone and said, I want to marry you today, but it can backfire on both ends. Yeah. So don't run out of doors opening just for you that's what you're thinking. People always are going to remember how you're showing up for them first before even they could show up for you. So let's authentically network. Many times it's going to be slow. Sometimes it's just you showing up with just one ask. I love it when someone asks me, Ruth, I saw you at this space. How did you, like recently we opened Rutico, Tanzania. And I'm glad I had people who asked me, how has your journey been? I had a few people just interested. How is it you can still be here in Uganda and have an international career? We're seeing you influencing the same way you'd influence here in Uganda, back home in Kenya. How are these opportunities opening up for you? When someone asks me just that one piece of question, it touches my heart so much. I may not give you everything all at once, but I'm noticing that it's a slow transition. You're not quickly getting to get me a job in Tanzania. Do you see how the mind can be flipped? So go slowly. What we say in Uganda, mpola mpola, build that trust. Next time you can come with the second, the second contact or connection can be, hey, from that information you told me, here is how it has helped me. Or here is how also I was able to add value to someone who was asking me something similar. And I shared your story, or I asked them maybe to follow your LinkedIn, or shared my own journey, how your own story had impacted me. And then come now with your next question. And with time, there's people who I have kept talking with on DMs, various platforms. I have never met them. There's places I've gone to and people are shouting, hey, Coach Ruthie. I have no idea who they are. And they're showing me messages, we've been talking. So sometimes also you can be a mentor to people who you have never met, but because they are being so real and picking pieces of their lives that they feel you can help. I had a lady once ask me, actually several ladies have asked how I'm juggling. I'm building a business. I'm having all these engagements like these amazing communities, as Faith mentioned. I'm also an instructor with Avoda. It's a Christian space that's also equipping Christian business owners. How am I able to exist in all those places and still show up, my wholesome self? I'm thanking God for health. How do I show up as a woman? How am I juggling even motherhood? And I think sharing my journey has helped people feel, wow, I'm human after all. Yes, I had times I had to take downtime, take care of my kids, quit the corporate world to be able to raise the children that God had blessed me with. And so for the mentees, there's that question, how do I build relationships with my mentees? So first, I want to see again, are they being authentic? Are they just asking because sometimes, we're very emotional. You've exchanged business cards, you've exchanged numbers. There's this room full of amazing, brilliant talent, and everyone is confused you're running. Actually, for me, I always go in, if it's a big conference, I don't go to meet 20 people or 10 people. My target is usually 2 people, sometimes even 1. And I keep looking around the room and trying to see where am I at in life? Who would I need also to even partner? So maybe my conversations or my mindset has changed over time, as opposed to when I was younger, because when we are young, we are looking to meeting people who are in the next level. So sometimes I also learn to look sideways. Don't always look up. You can look on the side and see, is there a peer maybe who has gone through a similar experience? Because their experience might even be more recent than a mentor who went through the same thing 5 or even 10 years ago. So don't be distracted that, hey, I didn't get the people at the top. Who is on your side? And for me, even as a mentor, I even do reverse mentoring because I love hanging out with the younger versions of me. I can quickly identify them. Faith, you're one of them. I learned so much even with Steve. They're always pushing you, asking questions. And that's how those relationships have been built. I keep saying when how we've met Steve, it's through actually Coach Samuel's space. And the guy was bold. He kept asking Ruth, we need to meet and you amaze us with this career talk. Come do wellness, come do this. I couldn't just say no. The brother was quite insistent, but he was not coming to push, trying to show me what is in it for him. He kept asking questions that led me to think, to believe that he's that human being also who's quite aligned on my purpose in life. So the first thing I would usually do, check the authenticity, check also the consistency, because sometimes if I go to a conference, trust me, I'll leave that conference with about 10 new numbers. People asking me, Ruth, mentor me. I usually say no, I don't say yes immediately. I want to give them a test. So there's people I've told, go prepare for me your vision board, send it in 2-3 days. There's people who never come back. They don't even save my number. And for me, do you think I really follow up? Maybe not, unless God has specifically told me, no, that person, just follow up with them. It has happened on very few occasions, but usually I'll give you an assignment. Whatever assignment, I will be able to monitor your progress on it. Sometimes it's even someone saying, could you please mentor me? But maybe I have a client who has asked for a talent, someone to hire in a position. I think I met this person who told me I'm in IT, this is what I've been building. And so I gave them a link to go and apply. And I checked 2 days later, I asked, did you apply? And they're like, oh, no, I forgot. So you think of what thoughts went through my mind. I was like, this person is literally not even looking for the one thing that they had mentioned that they're looking for a job, because 2 days later, they still hadn't applied. So I give them those small tests, and how they come back, how they show up, their consistency, then I'll be able to tell, okay, it's aligned. I have a bias for women because I know sometimes the opportunities don't come often to women. The market is really, sometimes it's a bit harsh on the women. I'm happy to work with them many times, even on pro bono if my calendar allows, but I can confidently say, Faith, every year God has enabled me to work with very many numbers, not just even at the venture studio, but personally as an individual. Sometimes there are people I don't know, there are people who God is bringing my path. I usually even pray and say, God, let this be an amazing relationship. And so far, I have not regretted. And I'm glad also that the networks I'm also looking towards becoming are those that are aligned to my values. There's places you'll not find me. And specifically, I will say, no, I don't show up in certain places. So I keep asking God to also align my heart with his heart. There's places my brand will not be seen as much as, yes, the money is calling, because at the end of the day, that God reputation is going to keep being a stamp everywhere I go. So back to you, Faith. There's a lot that can be said about this.
I know you're hearing that, like there's a lot that can be said about this, but for me, something is really standing out. I don't know if it's standing out for everyone else. It's that every time you speak, you always highlight your values along the way, meaning they are like deeply engraved in who you are as a person. You value the quietness, you value the solitude that makes you you. You value family, you value your godly virtues and the God given nature that you have. Like you say those things consistently, and I wonder if people pick them up, but it's just amazing. And I would like to ask a follow up question maybe on that before we wrap this up, because I can see our time is far much spent. So, for the people or the few mentees that you try to bring along, and you probably give them an assignment, or like this particular one, you give them a link to a job they apply and they were not able to apply. Do you think that a lack of consistency might not necessarily be a function of discipline, but a function of an individual not really discovering themselves or not having a picture of who they would want to be?
All
To you,
right.
Coach Ruth.
I get asked that a lot. Like, how do I choose those that I'm going to walk the journey with? I must say, on the journey of my career, I've had of course, it's going to be different. When you're starting out at the beginning, like when I was a HR manager, oh my good Lord, if you have a staff of over around, call them 300 people, and each one of them is looking up to you to figure them out, I feel like I have done that for so many, and it's quite possible maybe only 30% would even appreciate the contribution. But quite interesting, even 10, 15 years. Like I got a message like a month ago from someone I hired in 2012. Funny thing, I couldn't quite remember where I placed them, but when I checked my phone, I still had their number. So when they texted, I was like, why do I have this person saved? I had placed them for a job in Fort Porto and we're opening a branch there. But they said, Ruth, all these years later, I'm coming to say thank you. So yes, there's going to be people who are on different parts of their of their journeys. And shall I say, when I was growing also in my career ladder, there's a tolerance I had for about picking everyone. And for every glory I moved, God kept calling me into a new season. And when time keeps moving and your mission is getting closer to what God wants you to really do, I'm not saying that everything else I was not doing was not the Lord's work, but it has come a time where I have to accept that I'm just a human being who wakes up with a finite energy resource. I may not be able to save the world in that way, but I can save someone's world. Just like we have a position when we do recruitment, there's thousands of candidates who probably have even masters. Some even I see them as PhDs, but we just want one individual, and there's going to be filters. So if we don't set those filters, we'll end spreading ourselves so thinly. I would love to add so much meaning even to just two human beings and see their life flourish to fruition rather than spreading myself so thinly. And when I look back, I was just a hype. I want to have the real flex where, as Solomon said, it's about your purpose. I want to know you so deeply, Faith, that even your deepest motivation is not just being brought because of money, your career. I want to ask you questions sometimes, Faith. I hold back because all these are things which build you as a human being. So, human beings, for me, I prefer the depth rather than just saying I have impacted thousands or 100,000 or I have 10 million followers. I think we have to really be clear. Is it popularity we're looking for, or we're going to chase purpose? So if I'm to find myself at a place of choice, I'll always pick purpose. And I believe even Jesus, he had the entire world to preach his message, but he picked 12. And from the 12, he had his best gangos who were three. And from there, of course, it was just him and God. So at the end of the day, I know my life has to give meaning to not just the rest of earth, but also to God. So let me not save the world and lose my own soul. So I want also to preserve my energy, preserve myself for the very people who mean a lot. Guys who have 12 children, I still keep wonder, how do you divide yourself into those children, even though they have come from within yourself? I would love to understand my grandmother, because, they had many children. Because sometimes I look at our two in our, nuclear setup, and I'm thinking, wow, I maybe even understand why people have one child, but I want to deeply pour myself into people and be so meaningful that I've been a strong pillar for them. So I'd rather have the 3 to 5, less than 10 people I work with every year. And then next year we can get back to this. I believe when my life is done, these are the guys who will say, yeah, she fought a good fight for us. Stop smiling, Faith.
So much for 12 children. No, 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 no. Actually, I want to put a comment out there. Like, so much for 12 children. When I was young, I thought I'd have 8. So, yeah, I guess we we grow up and reinvent ourselves. I am still reinventing. Praise God. Anyway, um, the conversation has been really amazing, and we are far spent in time, but I'd like to steal a few more minutes just to ask one selfish question of something that has come out over and over again. And I'd like to start with you, Mr. Solomon. However, Miss Ruth, you'll also answer the same question. So you can be drinking a sip of water as we delve into this particular conversation with Mr. Solomon. Thank you very much for richly pouring yourself out onto us. So, Mr. Solomon, my question is, the conversation has gone on and on about reinvention, about building professional networks, about having mentors, but all that is being repeated over and over again is purpose, knowing who you are, knowing what you're called to be. Ideally, in understanding or rather finding out these things, you always discover at the end of the day that you are not called to live for yourself. And somewhere, somehow, whatever you attain or achieve in this process, you always end up pouring into others. Like what you're doing right now, you have set your time aside and you're pouring it into us. So I would like both of you to shed light into this particular issue in a minute or two. Let me give you 3 each. But I know we'll have a very lengthy conversation at the same. You have really rich reservoirs that we are tapping into. In a minute or two, how do you build a career? Or how do you build, yes, it's a career, but also the professions in between there. How do you build a professional career that allows you to live beyond yourself? How do you build a professional career that allows you to just be beyond yourself? Because you also have families, you're running businesses, you're part of corporate organizations, but you still have that place in you that is still saying, I need to help people, I need to build people, I need to do one, two, three. How do you build that life where you make sure that you are living beyond yourself? It's no longer daily bread, it's no longer numbers, it's no longer what I can do with the influence I have, but I am really, really living beyond myself. How do you get there, Mr. Solomon?
Well, again, Faith's questions are very complicated, but I will try to answer in the best way I've understood. No, they are very tough ones because I think I would like to draw my inspiration or my learning from the Bible. The Bible says that in everything you do, as in do everything as unto the Lord. I wouldn't want to spiritualize stuff, but basically we go back there. We go back to our creator because he gives us the blueprint of what we ought to do. But also for me, on top of the word of God and his instructions for life, I draw my my lessons from my own life. I always tell people that personally, I am a product of people's kindness and the grace of God. Um, when I look at where I have come from and where I am, if it wasn't for God and the kindness and grace of the people, I wouldn't be. Um, on a lighter note, when people meet me, they have mentioned that I look like a spoiled kid, one who has had it all, one who is from this affluent background. And I'm like, hallelujah, praise the Lord. The Lord covers his people, he turns ashes into beauty. And I appreciate him for that. But what am I saying? That along my journey of life, people who did not know me, people I had never met, decided to take a chance on me. They decided to pay my school fees. They decided to house me when I was homeless at some point. People have been kind to me even when I did not qualify to benefit from their kindness. And so, for me, there is no better way. There is no other way I can pay these people other than affect and influence another life. So I believe in paying it forward. That's what motivates me every day. There is one particular path, not one, but there are several, but this particular one was former headmaster of my high school. When I had failed to proceed to HSC, he picked me on and took me on as his own child and paid my fees and looked after me until I finished senior six and he encouraged me. He believed in me when nobody did. And eventually I made it to the university from an upcountry school, which was like a miracle. So I looked at him and I said, what can I pay you? How can I ever say thank you to you? So for me, I do not differentiate my profession. I do not differentiate my day-to-day life from my life purpose. Actually, I am using my profession every day. I'm using my career every day to fit into my life purpose. So when somebody comes to my desk, I am a person of authority in my office. I will always see how to support them, as in to be a human being first of all, but not really condoning wrongdoing or not really downplaying my values and my expectation as an office holder. But I am looking at how do I support this person? How do I influence them to become better persons? Personally, I love it. At my workplace, we use the balance scorecard to deliver results every year. Right now, we are in the last month of our financial year, and it's really tough. I always tell my subordinates, I tell them, you know what, I would really love you to be A class, A performers, A plus. I want you to get big bonuses. But that is very good. However, my biggest achievement would be, other than the big bonuses and the A plus performance, I would love you to say 10 years, 11 years, 5 years after we have parted ways, that you look back and say, I am so glad I worked with Solomon at this point because I became a better person, because he helped me think like this, because he made me move in this direction, because he understood me as a human being. I mean, that's where I come from. I come from the empathetic point of view. And as a soft skills trainer and advocate, I always want to treat people with empathy. I want to understand where they're coming from. So everything I do I do it perfectly? Sometimes not, but it's my desire, it's my struggle on a daily that I will come from that point and support people. Look at people as human beings first, and then see what they can bring to the table next. And so I am every day I am molding that. Every day I'm doing that. Do I fail sometimes? Yes, I do. But then I pick myself up and say, how can I be better tomorrow for these people I'm handling? Even when I'm posting on LinkedIn, I post and I ask myself, so why am I posting? What impact am I making? Is it just the hype of, hey, this is so good, 101 followers? No, I am looking at, are these people really learning? Are they becoming better because of what I'm posting? Do they pick a thing or two? Even in this conversation here, I'm asking myself, is somebody picking a thing or two? And are they going to implement? Or after this conversation, it will be like, a good tourist who goes and sees good things, comes and narrates and never implements anything. Anyway, you gave me 3 minutes. I think I've overused, I've gone to 4 or 5. May God bless you, everyone who is listening. I hope that this conversation has made a difference in your life, that you will sit down and think, especially about your why. Why are you on this earth? Why are you alive today? Why are you waking up every day to go and do something? What is it that you're looking for beyond money? Because after money, there is something that you need. Allow me finish with this statement. It was a story told to me that a certain man went to the lake shore and found a fisherman who was just lying idly on the beach. And he had only one boat and asked him, why are you here? Why don't you go and fish more, fish harder, and then you buy bigger boats, you buy more boats and sell more fish. And then the gentleman asked him, after selling all that fish, after making all that money, then what? The guy said, then you can, have more money to eat, chill and relax. And the gentleman asked him, so what did you find me doing? You found me already chilling. So do I need a lot of money to chill? Do I need a lot of money to enjoy myself? No, anyway. Thank you very much.
You're a wise one. We should have you on a conversation another time, please, Coach Ruth.
Well, in Solomon, he could go on, and we'll find ourselves here at 10:30. All right. So I think for me, it's when I wake up every morning and I have that gift called life, there's something it sparks in me. I'm those people you want to hate in the morning. I wake up with a big smile. I wake up with a big song. And that's how I have also imparted my family to wake up. Even those who have been dragging it, you just wake up, you have a burst. Your veins work all right, your blood. You didn't even have to think that something could have happened to you at night. So just that we have that gift of life, that breath is what keeps us here alive right now. That's the difference of us and someone who's just been burying someone today. And I kept being curious about that life force. And for me, that life force is God. That's not just even found in humans, but also in nature. And you feel God everywhere. Like you look at the sunshine and you're like, oh my good Lord, look at that star sustaining life. As in, God for him is a giver of life. And if we have his light in him, that gift of life, it's only natural for you to emit that same light that God has given you. But it's the plan of the enemy to keep casting shadows on us. I have been there where you feel with so much self-doubt. You're sabotaging yourself. I have done that enough times, even after you've gone through the same trials, tribulations. You still find yourself at a place where, God, you keep giving me a chance over and over. Even where I think I have learned the lesson, I'm still falling for the very things. I'm just accepting that we are a fallen generation. We are a fallen people. And God just comes to not really to assume that we are not that, but he makes us afresh anew. And that's when you look at our Badili logo, it has the sun, not that we worship it, but because it represents the insatiable power and energy God's creation gives. So when that same light goes through us, do you know we actually emit light on our bodies? It's quite interesting. We actually glow. But because we are blinded or there's so much noise in our environment, we don't see how amazing creatures we are. So deep down my heart, I really love God's creation. I love people. I genuinely want people to feel seen, to feel heard, and for their own light to shine, because God is in each one of us. Even on our worst day, God is still in us. So as a Great Commission going out into the world for me meant, let me pick a place where I really am passionate about. And it's not because I chose it. That space chose me. Trust me, if it was my choice, I would be an engineer, which I started doing it for 3 semesters. I would have been building probably structures. I see my son building his Legos. That is so me. That's how my brain works. And keep off people as much as I can and just be by myself and build alone. And people will be saying, oh, engineer so and so build that. But no, on my journey of life, God actually altered my path. And he called me to a place where being put in charge of his people. And can I say, like Moses, I was like without fear? No, I was trembling. But God kept asking me, what do you have in your hands? And I kept finding he has given me so much. I have beyond a rod. I'm not like Moses who just came as he was. He's borrowing even his brother's stuff. No. When you find what God has put in you, those are gems. Those are gems to guide you towards the direction of life. Someone else will be appalled by trash in the city. Someone else will bypass it. Why has God put it in you that it's you who gets stirred in a certain way? So I feel terrible when I see people dimming their light. And that's why I'm saying I'm so passionate about women, saying that we are intelligent creatures, but making ourselves small so we can fit in small spaces. It super annoys me. But instead of getting annoyed, I now learn to walk that space, walk the light, and remind everyone who walks on earth that you're God's creation. And my job is to get to that potential and let my lights shine so brightly that there's no way faith is not going to shine that I've met you. That's why I always wear a big smile on my face, not because I don't have problems, but I keep saying, no, those are just small things along the journey. Yes, I have days I'm crying myself to sleep or even to wake up, but my general demeanor is that I'm so, so grateful. I see it as an opportunity. Deep inside my heart, I had to make a choice as opposed to exploiting what potential I could get from people. No, I call myself a steward. I'm a steward when I meet faith. I take it seriously. Like, I've been sent you on my path. There's a reason why you can't meet me and remain the same. So I keep asking God, give me strength, give me wisdom to show me why I have met faith out of the 7 billion or 8 billion people on earth. And if I have made that choice of I'm going to live beyond myself, my children are also watching me. It's not what I keep yapping about. They're following in my steps. And imagine if we had more people also who are doing the same for others. And now when I watch my children in their own spaces, they are lifting others up. They're giving up things that would have been comfortable for them because they want to make someone else feel seen, feel heard. That, oh no, let me give that up for somebody else. I believe I'm on that path of making the world a better place. And above all is to let God be seen in each one of our situations. Jesus first fed people. We can come drum all the gospel we want to drum, whether it's in Africa or the world as it is. And there's going to reach a point where maybe it's not food we struggle about anymore. But let's first feed God's people. And feeding is not just his word, it's literal. People are hungry in their bellies. People are hungry to be seen, to be recognized, to become. So I am just responding to the natural call by God to be a disciple sent out into the world. That's why I love the marketplace, because almost everyone is in the marketplace right now, except of course the guys in school and all, but there's a big chunk of his people every day who are in the marketplace. So that's where he has called me to be. And just like fishers of men, I'm there in the marketplace, making more Christian businesses shine, uplifting people, speaking to them. And sometimes all what it takes is just a message. It just takes a post and then that light is turned around. So thank you so much, Steve, also for, I remember you asking me what spaces I really am passionate about, and this space of reinventing yourself or reimagining yourself, it's very personal for me. I never imagined in one day I'll be sitting away from my home country, just also being able to be a part of what the amazing work God is doing in Uganda through all these other partners I have on ground. So I will not be able to brag and say I've done it alone. No, Faith. I've had mentors, people who have literally walked with me, people who have opened doors. And just like Solomon, I want to keep that door open to as many people who can walk in. And sometimes it's just a compliment. Sometimes it's, hey, Faith, I see you. You're amazing. It's sometimes just that response. Sometimes just, hey, there's this person who could help you even better than I am. Sometimes it's just, sharing that love that we have for God through our actions here on earth. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I look forward to the next time we'll be invited to this amazing space. Thank you, Faith, and thank you, Stephen.
Funny enough, I also wanted to be an engineer. So I was just wondering, would I be speaking to stones right now? Because my God, the things that we want, the things that we want from life when we even have no idea of where we're supposed to be. I don't know. Mr. Solomon has said I ask very complicated questions, but I think that the questions I ask help start something or just pour out something from your heart, because the conversation has been very authentic and really deep. It was not just coming from rehearsed answers and the questions that panelists need to know and prepare themselves for a session. No, it was the essence of who you are, what makes you Coach Ruth, what makes you Mr. Solomon, what makes you the trainer, the coach, what makes you the public speaker, what makes you the manager in that particular office. And if you're keen enough, you would hear them highlight all those things and even mention them towards the end. Mr. Solomon has said practically of how empathetic he is. And I think everyone has just felt that from how he has spoken throughout the conversation. Coach Ruth has just mentioned that burst of energy and sun and glow. And I think all of you have seen it throughout the conversation. And that is what makes our conversations different. We touch the essence of the beings of this amazing people that we have on board. And I'd like to put out a request on behalf of everyone who is listening by choice that we should have both of these speakers back, at least each of them on a separate day, on a separate topic, just to glean more on the wisdom, on the knowledge, and the insight, and the amazing things they are willing to share with us. So probably before we drop off the call, just to highlight some of the amazing insights that we have had. If you're learning to build a network, always look out at what you can learn, what you can give first. Be ready to put yourself out there, but most importantly, know yourself, know your purpose, dream, imagine what you want to be. It's free to imagine, it's free to think, it's free to reinvent yourself, but always have an idea of where you're going. Always have an idea of what you want to do. And it's okay to change as many times as possible. It's okay for you to start over. A big shout out and thank you from very many people in the chat box. I have seen someone say that they met Coach Mr. Solomon from Shine Leadership. Yeah. Amazing people. Thank you, Coach Ruth. I met you once, but you're amazing. Mr. Solomon, I got to know you from Shine Leadership, and since then I have followed you. We share the same story. Most importantly, all our guest speakers have emphasized on us believing in God. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Stephen, for organizing this. My cup is full tonight. That has been shared by Mutesi Sawia. I'm hoping that I pronounced that right. And Mr. Stephen, you are right. This is absolutely my tribe. This is absolutely my tribe. Thank you very much, our guest speakers. We are honored and really grateful for having you for this particular session. I am sure someone has walked away with tips and practical steps on how to reinvent themselves, just to understand whether they are currently pursuing a profession or building a career, and how to change that, and how to build networks and a group of mentees and mentors that can help them escalate and grow. And also remember that even when you're doing this, you're not doing it for yourself. You are doing it because you have been positioned and you have the privilege to do that, to impact many more lives. I can see Akulo say that it's their first time here, and she's very grateful and blessed to be on board. Thank you very much for joining us. Please remember, we still have our call for volunteers, and the link has been shared in the group, and it has also been shared in this chat box. If you're willing to be part of the social media influencers and volunteers that will help us propagate this message further, kindly fill in that form and we'll be able to reach out to you. Also, the link to join the chat box is available. The WhatsApp chat box, it's available. Make sure to join so that you can get more updates. Remember, we have the open floor conversation on the 2nd of August. This particular one will be having Dr. Natalie Bitaturi and Mr. Brian Kayongo. So please make sure as well to look out for the link and register on that. If you have not followed and subscribed to our YouTube channel, the link has been shared as well. And without further much ado, I'd like to say thank you for everyone who made time to join us. We are really privileged and honored to have you. And until next session of our career talks, my name is Faith Njuki, and I am glad to be your host for your moderator for the night. Our host is Future Den, and our team lead is Mr. Stephen, and we'd like to appreciate and celebrate him for offering us such a platform that can enable us to learn and grow. And please remember, career talks are free, so make sure to invite your friends and your family and everyone that you would like to glean from this wisdom. So until next time, thank you. Do have a lovely evening. Good night, good afternoon, and good morning to those who are starting their day from all over the world. Thank you.
Bye. It has been a pleasure.
Same here. Bye, and well done, Faith. Great moderation skills. We had fun, and God bless you.
Ruth, it has been a pleasure to be with you here. Faith,
Same here, Solomon.
you are amazing.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I am privileged to have been your moderator for the night. Looking
Wow.
forward to learn on opportunities and entrepreneurship as well. Thank
No
you.
problem. Bye.
Bye. Good night.